Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's the first set of weekly challenges since update 1.46, and in today's video I'm going to take you through each and every single one of the 5 events and have a look at the rewards that are on offer for this week. In fact, as in typical fashion when we get a new update, it is always going to be the best reward that is possible, which is the free 6-star car reward ticket. So not too bad this week, and overall not really time consuming. So with that being said, let's dive into the 5 events for this week. So it is April week 4, the first one since update 1.46, and on offer this week for event number 1 we have the Jimny Cup over at Willow Springs International Raceway on the Horse Thief Mile. Then we move over to Red Bull Ring for the European FR Challenge 550, then the brand new event, the Japanese Club and Cup 550 at Alsace Village Reverse. Then we have the return of the special event with the Civic Type R EK1 make, which is a limited time online event. Then finally we have the return of the Group 1 Prototype series, this time at Grand Valley Highway 1. In terms of the rewards on offer for completing one single event, you will get your hands on a 6-star roulette ticket parts ticket. For free events it's 150,000 credits, and for completing all 5 of the events on offer you will receive the 6-star roulette ticket car ticket. I would definitely say in terms of the overall time it takes to get all of these events done and the actual rewards on offer, I would say this is perhaps one of the better weeks that we've seen in recent times. So overall it isn't going to take you really any more than 30 to 40 minutes to get these 5 events done, and you're going to be rewarded with a free car, which is typically worth upwards of 1,000,000 credits plus, which if you get the duplicate you can then go and sell for a nice bit of profit. You should be making around about 1 to 1.5 million credits off these events if you do end up selling that car. So event number 1 is the Jimny Cup. This is one of the update 1.42 events, I believe, obviously coming alongside the brand new Jimny, and did feature in its own menu book. Now this is going to be the one that was set on tarmac. This is at the Horse Thief Mile layout of Willow Springs. Now in terms of the Jimny itself, it's completely up to you how you want to bring the car in. Now as usual I'm going to be running this on the hardest difficulty that is possible in game. This way I can at least get a bit of a challenge. However, the Jimny we do use here is fully upgraded, so it's going to make very short work of the absolute cluster of Suzuki Jimnys that are racing around on this very short track. However, thankfully this track is getting some use. Again, this was one that was really only used for the sort of lap time challenge thing, where you go ahead and obviously get the gold medals. After that it wasn't really seen again until this Jimny Cup did come into the game, so it's pretty much one of the forgotten layouts of Gran Turismo 7, however getting a little bit of extra use this week. In terms of the event itself though, it is super simple and super easy. It's a 4-lap event, so obviously with that there's going to be no fuel usage, no tyre wear or anything like that to worry about. To be totally honest, you can get this one done in literal under 5 minutes as long as you're using a fully upgraded Jimny. Again, you might want to throw a few upgrades on, especially if you're running it on the harder difficulties like I am. It turns out the AI do actually have a few upgrades on them. However, we did have this one done in no time at all, and that's going to give us tick number 1 for the week, and obviously our first prize reward of the week. So with that done and said, let's head over and look how many credits we're taking away from this one. So we're going to take away 40,000 credits. Now I believe this is without the clean race bonus, which as you can see it now is, and that is going to give us the 6-star roulette ticket parts ticket reward, which will reward you with a decent part for a randomly picked car. Again, it'll be just my luck that I'll probably get something terrible off of that, unfortunately. On to event number 2, it's going to be the European FR Challenge 550 over at the Red Bull Ring. This again is going to be another sprint event. This one is for 3 laps. In terms of weather and stuff like that, since this is a, I guess, notorious track for the weather, it does seem to be able to come in. However, it will probably come in at the end of the race if anything, so you shouldn't need to worry about that too much. So as always, I'm going to try and stick around the PP recommendation. Again, it's not set in stone for this one, so if you do want to abuse that and get this event done as quick as possible, feel free to whip out the Ferrari VGT or something like that. However, I am using one of the classic Alfa Romeos. This one has been in the garage for a long time, but is set up with a very interesting tune on it, and I thought, well, what better way? It sits at around about 553 PP, and I just wanted to go and throw it around a racetrack. So in terms of the AI themselves, whilst we didn't necessarily have the straight line speed of some of the more modern BMWs in the race, I did manage to find that in the corners I made massively short work of them. As you can see, this thing just has a ton of easy handling characteristics. It's very small and very nimble. So again, in terms of the overall performance and where I can gain on the AI, is mainly going to be either through the corners or on exit. Unfortunately, when it gets to the top end of this thing, and with the Red Bull Ring being a very quick track overall, I did find that I was struggling against some of the more modern competition, like I mentioned. Now, unfortunately, this kind of has the typical trait of the early Gran Turismo events, in which there is a huge bunch of gaps between different sets of AI. They're all running around in their own little group, so it may take you a little extra while to get towards the front. I eventually did it as we went on to the start of lap 3, and once that was done and dusted, I managed to build up a fairly healthy lead come the end of this event. Again, the rain is a possibility. For me, as you can see with the windscreen wipers on, it came on the last few corners of the race, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. In terms of the overall prize money for this one, it's 37,500 credits, once again without that clean race bonus, just due to a bit of contact on lap 2 there. However, overall, this one really is a relatively simple event. Moving on to event number 3, this is one of the latest additions to the game, the Japanese Clubman Cup 550 over at Alsace Village Reverse. Now again, in terms of the event itself, we're going to use what we used yesterday for my event guide, and that is obviously going to be the Afeela Prototype. This is pretty much what this event is made for, so there was just no obvious other choice. You know, I just felt like, let's go ahead, get a bit more use out of this car and get this one over and done with, probably for the final ever time. So we jumped in the Afeela. This car is fully standard, considering it doesn't feature any customizable options apart from the tyre compound. You can't even change the likes of the suspension customization and such. However, it does make short work of the majority of the AI. It's just a bit weightier overall, so if you are using this vehicle, just be aware that it is rather quite heavy. However, in terms of the AI themselves, once again, just like the Red Bull Ring, they are very much set in their own groups. You'll probably find yourself kind of overtaking a couple of cars and then waiting until you get to the next group and then the next group, and then eventually there'll be a massive gap to the leader, which will typically be the Afeela Prototype, which is up at the front of the grid pretty much every single time with this event. So as you can see here, we're getting past the GR86 and the RX-7. We're going to go on the outside, get this one covered off, and then it's all about trying to get that gap down to the lead car. Eventually we did manage to do it around about the same place on the track as we did with the RX-7 and GR86, getting past the other Afeela, and then once again just trying to get off and get the lead in terms of finishing this event. And we did by around about a second in the end. Not my best run, but we did get that first place and tick number 3. In terms of the reward, it's 60,000 credits without the clean race bonus, and that is going to also reward us with the second reward of the week, which is going to be the 150k ticket, obviously for completing 3 of the 5 events. And let's move in to event number 4. Again, a short event for this one. It's a bit confusing. While this is the special event and it's relatively short, that it occupies the 4th spot. Usually it's a bit of a longer event, but this one again should take you under 10 minutes. I'd say around about 8 to 9 minutes maximum. So it's the Honda Civic EK Touring Car 1 make. However, you can enter in any single type of EK, so as long as it's that generation of Honda Civic, you are absolutely fine to enter it. Now I went to follow what the AI was running with the EK Touring Car. For me, it's an absolute joy to drive. I've got mine on sports soft tyres. In terms of the AI themselves, they're all very much the standard version of the car, so there'll be no upgrades, no tuning and such like that, so don't worry about that too much. As long as you've got one of these, you should be able to get this event done and dusted relatively easily. Now I did find, like a lot of these special events, that AI just doesn't seem to be working quite right here. As you'll notice through the S's, they are constantly tripping up over each other, and there's not even that many cars on the grid. In total there is 12 of you, so there's 11 AI, and constantly through the slower sections the cars were just constantly tripping up over each other, so they're losing a ton of time and ton of pace no matter the difficulty that you're on. So overall you should be getting this one done very easy, and you can probably expect to take the lead very early in this race, which is a massive shame considering that the Civic Type R touring car race, or the one make that we see for these special events, is typically one of the better ones of the bunch, and probably one of the most fun ones that we do have on offer. Now come the end, I've managed to build up a 20+ second lead, so as you can see this one is a very easy event to get done. Now thankfully the AI isn't in the separate groups as well, they're all very much sticking together, but tick number 4 for the week, and with the claim race bonus, it's 135,000 credits, as well as also being rewarded with our daily marathon driving ticket, which unfortunately was a 3-star, and that is going to bring me to the final event. Now even in terms of the final event of the week, this one is a relatively short one. It's 10 laps at Grand Valley Highway 1 using a Group 1 prototype. Now you can pretty much use anything as long as it is at the PP recommendation of 950 or below. So the lap times are very short. Again, in terms of the fuel consumption and tyre wear, that's very low in comparison to some of the other events, and I really don't see people struggling here. Now in terms of the event itself, I'm going to once again go for the SF23 just like we did last week. Now I didn't really have the straight line pace that some of these other monsters of the Group 1 group do have. So in terms of where I'm making up most of my time, it's going to be through the tight and twisty sections, more the mid section and the sort of final left right chicane before you get back down that main straight. That is where a lot of the Group 1 cars were absolutely shooting off, but I guess thankfully we do have the overtake feature with the SF23. So in terms of the cars themselves, it's a bit of a strange one. Now the lap times are relatively short considering the massive amount of performance points were allowed here, and in terms of tyre wear and fuel use, again it seemed much lower than it was at any of the other races. They just don't seem to wear as much, and they don't seem to use as much fuel as possible. So we did take the lead on the final lap when the first place car did pit in, and that did allow us to take a relatively easy win and tick number 5 of the week. You can pretty much no stop this event in a bunch of the Group 1 cars and a bunch of the other high performance cars. 160,000 credits for this one without the clean race bonus, 30 miles in total, and the final reward of the week, the 6-star roulette ticket, car ticket. So not too bad, the best possible reward that we can realistically get from the weekly events. Up first we're going to open up our 3-star daily marathon ticket. Now since I got this one while completing the weekly events, I thought I may as well include it in, and to say it was a 3-star, it wasn't too bad. We're going to take 100,000 credits from this one, so really on the better side of a 3-star I'd say. Then we're obviously going to open up the first reward of the week, which is the 6-star ticket part ticket. Always a mouthful, that one. And in terms of the reward, unfortunately we're going to get a reward for a pretty much useless car. I believe we got this one for the Tesla, as you can see, the Model S signature. Then we're going to add the 150k to the account, and then we're also going to open up our final reward of the week for all 5 events, and that is going to be the free 6-star ticket. As you can see, a bunch of high-end cars on here. We have the Chiron VGT sort of thing, the SF23, Paganis. Unfortunately, I'm going to end up with what I would say is the weakest one of the bunch, which is the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1, although I believe it is worth something like 800 or 1,000,000 credits, so not too bad if I do want to sell this one on. Anyway, that is going to be it for this load of weekly challenge. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you so much for watching. Join me next week for another weekly challenges video. Take care guys, peace.